we're going to talk about another area that's been disrupted a lot, and that's Macy's in particular.
Yes, retail has had kind of an interesting week, of course, so far.
No, wait, I think it's important that we tell our viewers. Now, do you shop at Macy's?
I do not, and I was asking around out there, and it seems like the problem is that Macy's are in very close proximity with malls, which malls are kind of like this death word now.
I'll tell you, here's my view of Macy's, and this is not a great view. I think someone takes the clothes off the Macy's, looks at it and goes, no, I don't want that, and throws it and by the end of the day, there's just piles of things everywhere. It's a madhouse in those stores.
But of course, like going into earnings, we talk about kind of the winners and losers of this year, and it seems like department stores are going to be a weak spot. I mean, just you saw Kohl's yesterday, just 18% on the day down. Macy's was down on this data breach, so it seems like these department stores cannot catch a break. So Andy, I'm really curious to see what your data has on Macy's.
Well, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, Macy's is in a tough spot because when you think about the trends of the world and of the consumer, having 200,000 square feet attached to every mall in America is probably not the best situation. That's what they have. So long term, we continue to see a lot of trouble for Macy's. On the plus side, going into this specific report, LikeFolio purchase intent mentions, which is people talking about shopping at Macy's and buying products from Macy's. You can see we have each of the last 4 years Q3s circled in red or pink there. And what you see is, from 2016 to 2017, down year over year. From 2017 to 2018, down year over year. And now this year, 2019, compared to 2018, we actually see a little bit of an increase year over year. So that's a nice break in a really bad trend. A lot of times that can result in what we would call a relief rally for a company like this. The one caveat I will say, we missed Kohl's earlier in the week. We were bullish on Kohl's, and it got absolutely destroyed. So our purchase intent mentions do a good job of talking about how many people are going to the stores, how many people are doing business with the company. They don't take into account how much the company had to discount or compress their margins to get there, and that can be a big factor. So with Macy's, we at least see more people talking about shopping with the brand for the first time in quite a while.
Andy, this is a tricky one because the whispers out there are they're talking about negative comp sales for the third quarter. But we're going into a busy time of the year, their busiest time of the year, and this stock, I use the term every now and then, I like to buy a stock where I can see the ground. And you can almost see the ground here in Macy's, and it has a history of getting destroyed and then recovering. So at least if you're gonna make a bet on Macy's, you can see the ground where you're buying some of the stock.
Yeah, it's getting closer to zero almost every day.
Yes.
So you're getting closer to the ground. I don't know. I don't know that I necessarily love that, but I do think you're right. I do think that this is a really beaten up name. The idea of a relief rally or a little bit of a squeeze, from 15 up to 18 or 20 is not outlandish. If we got that, I would be extremely excited about, a bearish position, because I think long term, nothing is going Macy's way. And the companies, the last quarter, part of the reason that they had such a disastrous quarter was because they admitted they had a, quote, fashion miss. In other words, not only is this 200,000 square feet attached to a mall, but they don't even know what their customers want. That's not a great company to invest in long term. So we're looking at this as, hopefully it does get a little bit of a pop and we get a bearish entry.
Andy, I saw that article, and they also cited this miss in sportswear, which I just don't foresee that getting any better when you have your Lulus, your Under Armours, your Nikes doing decently well this year. I don't see it being any better this quarter, and it's at least in sportswear.
Remember, Under Armour and Nike are in Macy's. Those two names get sold in Macy's, but not Lulu. And this is the only difference between something like Kohl's and Macy's is Macy's does sell the highest level of quality goods, where Kohl's sells like that second level. So Kohl's, I completely agree with that. Kohl's is lost somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
But Macy's, I don't know. I'm not sure about Macy's.
I'm not sure either, but it's funny because people are tweeting about it. I mean, there's
Yep.
no doubt about it, but it's just not exactly the most positive tweets per se. So our first tweet says, in fairness to Kohl's CEO, sales are okay. Margins suck, so maybe they are really investing. But that says sales outlook for department stores is still grim. So margins is something we talk about a lot with these retail stocks. And again, I don't foresee this getting any better going into this quarterly report.
I think you'll be able to know how strong Macy's is in terms of the sales and things like that, in my opinion.
Yeah, no kidding. But
Right.
Our next tweet is from Steve Kramer, who says Target could buy Macy's for nothing, although Macy's could be easily up 20% tomorrow, coming in line with the insane short squeeze interest. Squeeze and play. So Andy, do you think it's possible that Macy's could be up 20% tomorrow? I'm curious.
Yeah, sure, it's possible. You know, I think that only gets to $18. I don't think that's outlandish. You know, I don't know why Target would want to own Macy's. You know, so I'll disagree with that. But I do think, yeah, anything's possible. You know, probably 18 all the way up to $20. So I think you got to be careful trading this earnings. You got to be really careful. For me, I look at it as, you know, LikeFolio purchase intent data is showing the possibility that they had a little bit better Q3 than people expect. It's going to be all about guidance. But if you do get a short squeeze up, a lot of times that makes for a really good entry bearish if your long-term thesis is that this is the type of store that's going to have trouble for years to come.
Yeah, Andy, I mean, what I'm hearing and what I see on this one is there's not a whole lot of stuff going well for Macy's, but the one thing you have to factor in is the market's not naive of this fact either. This stock's been cut in half over the last year, and that's the kind of I guess, the basis for you saying there could be a relief rally. It's just been beat up so bad.
Yeah, it's just been beat up so bad, and so at some point, you know, the company saying all of our stores aren't actually on fire is good news, and that's enough to get a relief rally. And so I don't know if we're there yet. I don't know if it's beaten up that much, but I do know that the overall expectations for the company are very, very low.